When last we left our intrepid adventurers, yes, we were going to let this epic level party do all the heavy lifting and come in at the last second and not save them.
Right.
Yes, that was our plan.
And is that how it worked out?
In broad outline, yes. Yes. Spoiler, we saved the world. There were some details, however. A few unexpected twists.
So
So
the
it
plan...
wasn't a TPK or TCK.
There was a TPK involved. We'll get to that.
But no
We'll get to
total
that.
campaign.
We'll get to that.
So
Not
the plan
yet.
was,
Not yet.
what originally happened, like in the original timeline, was everyone except for Kalinar and Aurora died. Then they killed the end of all things, but when it dies, it can consume a nearby soul and then just be fine. But it consumed Aurora's soul. She has multiple lives, so it disappeared. So the plan was that they were going to swap future Aurora, past Aurora. It would try to consume the same part of the soul that it consumed last time, which was itself, and it would destroy itself. Problem solved.
And failing that, if it didn't destroy itself, it would at least get trapped in a time loop because, Aurora would die and wake up under a tree and then go and follow Aurora's life and wind up back here and die, etc. like that. So it would be sealed in a time loop. Either way, world wins. Depends whether we get one Aurora or two out of the end of this process. So yeah, we figured can't lose. We're going to come out at least as many Auroras as we put in, break even. So it'll be good.
Well, I'm past Aurora's epic level, so...
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure that if we wound up with her in our party, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I got level drained by the end of all things.
Kalinar did get...
exactly the same.
Yeah, Kalinar did get level drained like 20 levels in that fight, so...
And
that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is final boss. Final
It's
boss
final
can
boss.
do weird
They do
whatever
that,
it wants.
But the thing is, of course, we want to tamper with timeline as little as possible. We had previously decided, this is an epic level party. We can't really pull one over on them. So we'll just explain to them, we're time travelers from the future. We're here to help this little tweak. We can't tell you anything else because timelines, Jenga towers, etc. And they believed us. We explained ourselves well enough, and so everything was going great. So we're in Allenway at the beginning of this adventure, and we're getting prepped to do this. And our previous plan was very straightforward. We had this two-ended portal device. It was a sheet of cloth you put down, and you could teleport to the other sheet of cloth. We picked that up from the Ood Empire just before it exploded.
Yeah, it was on the free table.
Yeah.
A purple sheet and an orange sheet.
Blue.
Or blue. Blue and orange.
Yeah. So the plan was we would give one of these to future Aurora. She would go with the party. And we told her, when you come to this big room, and we described the final boss room, without really telling her it's the final boss room. We just explain the room. Put down the sheet, and then Cricket will come through, and then she will tell you when to put down the sheet for the rest of the party to come through. Or no, just to do the swap.
Yeah.
You do the swap. And that way, minimal intervention. Cricket is the stealthiest of our party member, and the most expendable. So, just sort of tell when to do the swap. They'll swap. End of all things, we'll nuke the wrong Aurora. They saved. But
That's the plan.
That was the plan. There was a slight hitch in that we had to adapt to. Panadar, that's that artifact we have that allows us to do time tampering at all. If you don't have the Panadar near you when you try doing time traveling, time just squishes you outright. It's like, nope, not getting involved in this. This is going to be a mess. And so something happens that kills you, or otherwise removes you from being able to influence the time stream. So Cricket was going to have to take the Panadar with her when she teleported through, which would have left the party outside the Panadar's area of influence, and so they would have been probably nuked by time in some way. And we figured probably what would happen is Allenway would be destroyed, because that's what happens. And so we were speculating on various ways to try and trick time, make the party harmless to time for at least a few minutes, because that's all we need.
Or something.
Yeah, put them in primal prisons or whatever. And ultimately decided, no, let's just have the whole party go through, and we'll have them be as stealthy and hang backy as possible, while the epic level guys fight the thing and then jump in at the last second.
Oh, you decided to accompany them?
No,
just teleporting at the end.
Yeah, the room,
we did
the final
briefly
battle.
because we had told John on no uncertain terms last session, no, we're not going to follow them through.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, I'll throw away this dungeon I'd planned.
Yeah.
He hadn't actually planned it, and so he didn't plan one. And then we should have totally changed our plan. Like, no, we're going to follow through every detail of this epic level dungeon.
And not participate.
At one point, they were considering that because they did mention it, because one thing that this plan ruined is they
were leaving one end of the teleporter behind.
Right.
So they couldn't do the Aurora teleport swap. They would have to actually manually do that. Fortunately, they have beam shots that helps. But the room that's in is this huge open area underneath Allenway that's been eaten away by the void, and it's like the size of Southgate Mall. So it's huge. So they just basically like hung back in the passage to the entrance, and they're not gonna get spotted or anything. So
that part of the plan executes without a hitch. The epic level party fought its way through the dungeon. No Jenga blocks were pulled, so I guess they did as good a job as they did before.
The only Jenga block that was pulled was pre-pulled for the fact they wasted one of their grenade charges.
Yeah, and that was pulled like a week ago, so it had already regenerated by now. So we teleport through into the final boss battle room, and the party is like, see, the time travelers from the future have come to reinforce us. There's no way we're going to lose now. So we're like, yes, go ahead, do your we'll wait here. We'll totally reinforce you when it's needed. And so we hang back and we watch an epic level end boss being fought by the epic level end boss party.
The space is like a huge cavern, like I said, the size of Southgate. But there's just a few twisty bits of rock they look kind of organic, but they're rock. It's just what wasn't eaten away. And they all converge on a central area where there's like a black portal, and there's guys that look like time mages, and they're doing their summoning ritual, and the summoning completes right as the party gets there, of course, and they engage in a huge battle for the fate of the world.
Yeah, and we watch.
Eat your popcorn.
Oh yes, should have brought popcorn. Didn't bring popcorn though.
Otter's noses?
What was it?
Otter's noses?
Otter's noses. Popped otter's noses?
It's a Monty Python.
Okay. So yeah, John described in florid terms how awesome this all was. And
they had lots of abilities for draining levels and popping them in and out of existence, and it was doing massive damage and disintegrating everywhere. And
went through like 3 or 4 different stages. And, oh man, it was awesome.
Eventually, it revealed its true form, and
it had a red blinky eye.
Its health bar got down to the red and was blinking.
So finally, its form was essentially just a sphere of pure darkness. And it would occasionally shoot out like black lightning and do effects on things. But eventually things played out as they should. Its health bar was, getting down to like blinking, flashing red, and
it killed
Rook and Melvin. And that was the signal. All that was left was Aurora and Kalinar.
It's like, okay, now we're going to swap Auroras.
Yeah, now is the time.
But...
But at that moment, a portal opened up beside the battle, and these sort of gray, ghostly figures of time mages, dozens and dozens of time mages are behind the portal, and they all just start blasting with fireballs, like, and the fireballs come through and just fill the whole area with fire. And afterwards, all that's left is just black, smoking ash and like a few charred bones. There's nothing left of Kalinar's party. And the portal closes.
They killed past Kalinar and past Aurora.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a bit of a twist. Now, past Aurora getting killed is no biggie. She was going to die at this point anyway.
Right.
Past Kalinar getting killed is an interesting twist on things, because we have future Kalinar with us, and he was kind of instrumental to our whole campaign.
You kind of just looked at him, right? And you're like...
basically, and they told him to stay there.
Yeah,
he didn't see any of it.
Holy crap! You stay here. We got a problem. So this thing is 9 levels ahead of us. It's an epic solo controller, 9 levels ahead of us, and we got to kill it.
Its health bar is flashing red, so that's in their favor.
But basically, we're like, oh crap, scream and leap. There's nothing else for it. Just like all our plans. They always end with, oh crap, scream and leap. That's how it goes. So yeah, we charge into battle. Fortunately, Cricket was we went and bought high-level invisibility potions before we went in, so we were all invisible.
Oh yeah, that's right. That let you get a lot closer because you were all invisible.
So Cricket was right up there.
Though that reminds me, despite the invisibility, one of the time mages at the end, or like,
because Cricket was right up there, the time mage saw Cricket
and looked at her in a really confused way right before the portal closed.
Yeah, and it was like, what? Someone's tampering with time? Inconceivable. So charge. Cricket was right up there, so she managed to get a surprise round on the end of all things.
It's only gone for a short while. You're now fighting the end of all things.
Yes.
What happened to the party?
It just got nuked by time mages. Yes. They were supposed to be the ones that killed the end of all things, but the time mages, who are minions of the end of all things, intervened in time. They opened a portal. This is exactly like what happened with that town we encountered way back at the very beginning of the game. Time mages opened portals and fired fireballs through the portal to tamper with history and erase things from history. And after the dust settled of this session, we were like, oh, it must have been their test run for this particular thing. That was their test bed. But anyway, that's the portal closed. We're not dealing with time mages right now. We're dealing with the end of all things. Cricket gets a surprise round and pulls out her brand new shiny daily that she got just this level, Satire of Prowess, which is an awesome daily. I love this thing. I shoot the end of all things. Oh yes, we had done the Aurora roll 3 times and find out what your next three are going to be.
Right.
And I got like a 3, a 5, and a 20. So I found plausible knowledge rolls to burn the first 2.
Right.
Brian kept being like, so can I check if can I do an Arcana check on what the type of this monster? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, I use my 5.
Yes.
There was something else.
John kept forgetting that I had that. So.
And then there was some effect where he made like people from Kalinar's party disappear and reappear. And he's like, can I do an Arcana check to find out what that is? Yeah, sure. Oh, I rolled a 5. Brian.
So I had a 20 ready to go. So on my surprise round, I critted the end of all things with Satire of Prowess.
So I was going to say, it was actually interesting because you were considering Timeless Trek.
Yeah.
And I actually had a thought why Timeless Trek would be bad.
Yeah.
But I was like, do you want to do an Arcana check on whether Timeless Trek is a good idea? And you're like, nope.
I'm on my 20 now. I'm not going to waste it on an Arcana check.
Fortunately, they picked the other thing.
Satire of Prowess was tactically better. Since we were all there already, we didn't really need Timeless Trek.
What does it do?
If it hits, it's a save ends effect on the target. All attack rolls against the target, you roll twice and take the higher. And all of the target's attack rolls, it rolls twice and takes the lower.
Nice.
And this is save ends. Now it's epic, so it'll probably save out of it in a round.
It actually had an ability that anytime you put something on it, save ends, it immediately saves, and if it saves, it doesn't get it.
Okay.
I rolled a 1 though, so it got it.
Yeah, and the annoying thing is, if you miss with a Satire of Prowess, it's not a save ends effect, it's just a 1 round effect.
Oh.
So
Which
it
would have
actually been better.
Yeah.
Been better, but whatever. It all worked out. So I hit that thing, and of course I also did a massive amount of damage because it's a crit. And did I burn the points? Yes, I did. I burnt the points on the special crit roll table. I didn't do extra damage from there. Instead, it was granting combat advantage for a round.
Which made a big difference because
now everyone's at +2 to
so
hit.
much higher. Its AC, I think, was 39.
So it was granting combat advantage. And it was, you were getting to re-roll twice. or roll twice.
I mean, that's perfect against this thing that you basically everyone, even like the best people you had to roll 15 or higher.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was even after the abilities, right?
And then Aurora, the very next thing, when the party's turn started, we managed to beat it on initiative too. It was hard. It was very close.
Yeah.
We beat it on initiative, so we went right after the surprise round.
I rolled quite low on that initiative roll, so.
And Aurora immediately did a thing which boosted our crit range. So now we're critting on a 17, 18, 19, or 20, and we're rolling twice.
And you have +2.
And we have +2.
Yes. And Aurora did the weakening thing, which was fantastic because one of its abilities was it had an aura that did 50 damage, necrotic damage, every turn at the start of your turn.
Yeah.
Never failed.
I actually wasn't concerned about that because all of our party had hit points between 100 and 150. So we were like, okay, we've got at least 2 rounds. If we're not finished this in 2 rounds, we're dead anyway. So, yeah. But still, it was nice that we managed to whittle down its ongoing, its aura. I think we wound up whittling that down to like 12 points
12
or
or
something.
13. Yeah, because I think it was 13 because it was Aurora was weakening it, so it did half, and then Aurora gave everyone resists 12 necrotic, so it was only doing 13 damage around.
And then we got a bunch of temporary hit points as well. I don't think did I take damage? No, I took some damage before all that stuff. Since I did a surprise round, I went and took a bunch of damage straight up.
And then Aurora decided to use an action point. And it had an ability, whenever someone uses an action point, it immediately gains an action point and can immediately spend it.
Oh, wow.
So it can basically take any action as an immediate interrupt of anyone using an action point against it. So it attacked Aurora.
All right. Here we go.
And Cricket...
I had an immediate interrupt, arrow of warning. So it attacked Aurora. Okay, it attacked Aurora with an interrupt. I interrupted its interrupt to hit it with arrow of warning. I succeeded, did a massive amount of damage, and as one of the arrow of warning's abilities, the target of the attack can now make an attack as a free action.
She can use an at-will as a free action. She used her at-will to grant Hank an attack, because Hank is more powerful. So then Hank's attack, which is still interrupting its attack of interrupting her action point, he critted.
Of course, because we've done everything we can to boost the chance of critting.
And he rolled on the crit table and got the only spot where he could sacrifice 4 dice to stun the creature for 1 round.
It was a groin hit.
Hit a ball of darkness in the groin.
Yes. Yeah. Hank hit the end of all things in the groin and stunned it. This is what the campaign's been leading up to, this moment. And now it's stunned.
And it's not even save ends, it's 1 round. So it can't do the, get out of it thing.
Yeah.
It means it can't take interrupt actions. So it can't actually execute the thing it was going to do against Aurora. And furthermore, its best ability that it can, anytime you action point against it, it gets to attack you, is gone for 1 round. It's basically just... It's like
the entire party action.
It's like back to the old lame solo, right? You gotta do something to make a solo not lame. Yeah. It's a lame solo all of a sudden.
Because of that
sponge of hit points.
That glorious crotch shot that Hank got in there.
And all of your initiative shenanigans.
Was he using a Warhammer for it? I think he should have been using Warhammer. That would have been perfect.
He hit it right in the ball.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, we killed it because now it was basically. Did anyone else get a turn?
I think. Then Croesus went, and then Hank went for real, and everyone just unloaded all their best dailies on it, and all of its things to prevent you from just walking all over it failed. And it was red flashing hit points, right? So it was intended to be extremely deadly, but have very little hit points left. So at that point, they just.
And we were
it.
We were novaing all over it. And Cricket and Serendipity Van Goldshard, Malora, Top Rope Tower, Shepherd, Soulstar, Doomdelayer never actually got to do their proper turn.
And neither did it. It never got a single action in the entire combat. It had a lot of really deadly abilities. It had abilities that, it does massive damage and drains 4 healing surges. Stuff like just horrible, horrible things. And
so we're what was the big deal about this thing? We just...
You just punch it in the groin and then wail on it.
Hit it in the groin. Just knee it in the crotch, and then everyone pile on, hit it with chairs, and now it's gone.
Oh, and also sacrifice a party of level 30s before you get there. But
Well, we thought they could handle it. We thought they could handle it.
Yeah.
We were
They're
like,
laying on the ground like, we loosened it.
So you killed the big bad instead of,
and then it jumped into
Yeah.
Aurora.
So
it did do that part of the plan.
Yeah, so when you kill it, you can't actually kill it, then it just eats your soul. But luckily Aurora's there. But this whole time, when the stars die, they first turn into like a glowing mist, and then they disappear.
Right.
So the old past Aurora's glowing mist was still there. It hadn't disappeared yet. And it jumped into future Aurora, and she screamed, and black energy came out of every part of her body, and she disappeared into a glowing mist.
She died.
She died, and surrounding the blackness, but it merged with the she was like standing right on top of past Aurora. It merged with the glow of past Aurora, and they all swirled up and disappeared, just like usual, to wake up under some tree somewhere.
Right.
But
so Serendipity and Goldstar Miller, Copper Towers, Shepherd of Souls, Strider of Time, Doom Delayer.
Yeah.
She did some Arcana rolls, and she rolled really high, and she figured out what had happened. Aurora essentially became a Kalashtar with herself.
because both her souls died and woke up at the same time. So now she's a Kalashtar with herself.
Weird.
And the end of all things. So she's got 3 souls in her, two copies of her own, one-time looped one, and the end of all things. And she's woken up somewhere in the world, we don't know where. But fortunately, she is trapped in a time loop now.
So you've successfully contained the end of all things.
Successfully contained the end of all things.
But you have 0 Auroras now.
We have 0 Auroras left. Cricket is in a bit of a quandary because Aurora made very clear at the beginning of the combat she expected she would probably get killed by the routine. She made very clear to Cricket, I'm willing you to my past self if I die. And so now both of them are dead, or sort of not, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you had established that when a star dies, their new form doesn't have ownership of you anymore.
But
so now,
did she will me to her past self after because we weren't expecting her past self to die.
Right.
So her past self died, and then was going to be reborn. So where does that? It's a little bit confusing.
You may need a legal scholar.
I wanted to contact the High Priestess.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no!
she would be great for helping you through
It would
this. You
be
should
perfect.
give it a
I
try.
really, really, really want to. But
So what happens if I willed myself to a star, but then that star died?
and then the next iteration, it's complicated. And I really do want to contact the High Priestess and ask about this, but I can't right now. And
So
we've
why
got
did the Void Beast not eat anyone else's soul?
stars are delicious.
Yeah, stars are delicious because they have thousands and thousands of
And
lifetimes.
why wouldn't you append yourself to something you know is coming back again and again? It's
So
pretty
it
guaranteed.
didn't eat itself?
No,
That was the
Kalinar's plan turned out to be wrong.
If it did eat itself,
That'd be great.
Aurora still died, and you could still see it. If it did eat itself, then at least its new self is still there.
Yeah.
So
Well, because if it didn't eat itself, then there are 2 end of all things.
yes, if it didn't eat itself, there are 2 Auroras and 2 end of all things, all in Aurora's head. If it did eat itself, there's 2 in 1.
Yeah.
In a
They
loop.
don't know.
Yeah,
Where
so every time it
there's
gets an
another
extra
end
one.
of all things.
But that's fine because it can never get out of the loop. So
Eventually-
No one will mess with that.
Eventually, history records Aurora's got this epic evil aura crackling out of her every orifice as she goes through her routine.
So hello.
So going back and finding Aurora.
Tell me about your lost cat.
This looks like the evil fable.
It's just it's Emperor Palpatine, but just super nice. Oh, tell me about your sister. Oh, your feelings have betrayed her too. Oh, lovely.
So getting rid of Aurora now would not get rid of it because she'd just be reborn and it would tag along.
But she's trapped in a time loop, so end of all things is contained. Aurora's condition is stable.
Yeah, trying to interfere with her probably is more likely to break the time loop than anything. So
So in theory, we can just walk away from this and the world remains saved. But there is a problem now of a more personal nature. Past Kalinar got killed.
Yeah.
This is going to have some knock-on effects to future Kalinar.
Yeah.
Just a few.
Yes. So future Kalinar, when we explain the situation to him, he does the curl up in a ball, start rocking back and forth sort of thing. We're like, finally, he's got a realistic appreciation and apprehension of what time travel's all about.
Now,
finally got it.
Now you guys are standing in the cave. Like,
Yeah.
Did you celebrate, or
We have a brief yay.
Okay.
Because there's the immediate issue of because Serendipity figured out, because it takes a while for it to catch up. Kalinar's got about 20 hours before he fades away.
Okay.
She figures she can figure out a ritual that might be able to extend it to up to a few weeks.
Can you find his ash stain and go?
Oh yeah, we
"Raise"?
there's no raised person in this campaign.
Yeah.
We did find his ash stain and we pointed it out to him right there.
That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kalinar was the one who kicked off their whole campaign, essentially, right? He gave them the Panadar in the first place.
Yeah.
He sent them off. This whole thing was his idea.
Yeah.
And now he's dead.
Right.
So
So the time loop is not going to stay.
Okay.
Well, we're not sure about the time loop exactly, but it's definitely bad news for us.
Yeah.
Now, is this where you guys ended it? Or
No, we did have first of all, priorities. There's a dead epic level party here. Loot. we of course start looting the corpses, and John gave us an awesome payday. He said we could, for each party member, we could take a magic item from the books of any level and of any rarity.
Wow.
And I immediately went, artifacts ahoy! And he said, accept artifacts.
Yeah, I didn't think about artifacts. But I mean, they're a level 30 party. They're for sure going to have that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, you probably could have said one artifact for the whole party.
Well, they kind of already have
we have
Panadar, so anyway, but so any one item, and then also there's a ton of consumables.
Yeah.
Because of course at the end of the campaign they have all their consumables they never use. So.
We did,
and they didn't use them.
we did actually consider, as one of our other ideas for how to deal with the fact that we needed to bring Panadar down and leave the rest of the party behind. We did consider time looping Panadar and making multiple copies of it, but we didn't really have time for that, oddly enough.
Didn't have time? Time travel.
Yeah, the thing is,
The problem is you got
jumping through to an arbitrary point in time, you have to plot the course. It's not just anywhere to anywhere. It's very convenient for dungeon masters that way.
Right.
So in order to time loop Panadar is going to be a major operation. We have to do a lot of arranging and stuff. And we only had a day before.
Kalinar disappears in 20 hours, although they might be able to extend it.
Yeah. So a lot is going to depend on what time travel options are available to us. We didn't find that out yet. So future plans are going to be complicated. Of course, the first thing that popped to mind was, let's just have Cricket impersonate Kalinar and give the party the appropriate quests. We don't actually need a live Kalinar. We can butcher a Brackenridge this guy.
You've got a Kalinar alive, right?
You could
For
just
now.
use that Kalinar.
Yeah,
Couldn't you use him? Just wipe his memory, make him younger.
I don't know if they have to wipe his memory,
He's
but
only going to last like a day.
Yeah.
well, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe 3.
So-
Still, it's going to be tricky.
I think that's a good plan though. Use Kalinar for the most important things, and use a disguised Cricket as the backup for the lesser important things.
I kind of liked Disguise Cricket because for most of the time that we spent with Kalinar, or directing our party, it was Cricket contacting him with sending to report on our progress, and him yelling at Cricket for the ridiculous things our party was getting up to. And so I really like the notion of being on the other end of that.
Yeah. I like how the whole campaign they've been like, oh, stupid Kalinar sending us on this quest, and now they have to send themselves on the stupid quest.
And I really hope we come out the end of this campaign with it turning out that Cricket was everyone. That would be fantastic.
Cricket was the butcher of Brackenridge.
So then, a week from now,
Turns out Cricket was Aurora.
Kalinar doesn't fade away, and he just tears off a mask. And it's Cricket.
The whole time. That would be fantastic.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Kalinar is supposed to die a week from now or something?
He's going to cease to exist.
It takes a while for it
Back
to
to the
turn.
Future, right?
Yeah.
It's just like that. It takes a while for it to catch up. In this
then-
case, 20 hours.
And then when that happens, we also are going to have a temporal effect now affecting us. We wouldn't have gone on all the quests to take us here. I don't know whether when Kalinar disappears, will that immediately hit us, or will that just start our timer then?
I think it'll just start yours.
Right.
But
So we do have a bit more than Kalinar's period of time, and probably quite a bit more because we've been exposed to Panadar for a long time. It's anchored us. So it's not quite so catastrophic. We can sustain Kalinar for a week or two with the rituals. Then he will cease to have existed. And then we'll have a couple more weeks potentially trying to fix things.
yeah, there's a big problem, but you have time to fix it. It's fixable.
We also have another approach that we're considering, and I kind of like this approach too. These time mages have been a thorn on our side this whole time. We're considering taking it on the offensive. First of all, when the time mages opened the portal and nuked the party, no Jenga blocks were pulled. So we're like, okay, how did they do that? We want to do that too.
Well, no Jenga blocks were pulled from your tower.
Still, it feels like they've got some kind of different approach. to
They do
messing
have a
with
different
time.
approach for sure, because they seem to be able to open a portal, mess with something, and not actually go there.
And it seems to work out well for them. Our speculation, this is mostly Tim's theory, and I like it, it's very sound, is the time mages are using a firing base in the past, firing into the future through a portal. And that way they're not tampering with the past from their perspective, they're tampering with the future. And that is insulating them somehow. So we're considering, let's go back really far, figure out when and where these time mages are firing from, and fire on them from further in the past before they can open those portals, and thus we will stop them from tampering with time before they tampered with time. And that will save Kalinar. That will mean our plan executes as it originally intended. So I do like the idea of, pulling the same trick on the time mages that they just pulled on us. And then the campaign turns into a gloriously epic temporal scrot and fry contest. Where we and our enemies are just constantly killing each other as younger and younger babies. That could be pretty cool.
But there is a limit to how far you can go back.
Well, not anymore. We're not using the sigils anymore.
You don't really know.
It's quite possible that Serendipity and Goldstar Moore, Top of Tower, Separate Souls, Strider Through Time might be able to get us back further in time than the first sigil was made.
Okay.
Which would be pretty awesome. But yeah, those are the two main theories we've got. Serendipity and Goldstar Moore, Top of Tower, Separate Souls, Strider Through Time, used a ritual to consult with, what is it? Consult with the Tower of Time?
Consult with Time Tower,
Yeah, and she rolled low, but
Time Tower?
It's basically Consult Oracle, except we don't have oracles in the setting, so she's like peering through the cracks in time to like learn stuff. Because it's actually a number of things have turned out that pretty much all types of divination are essentially that anyway. She's like doing it at like a more. She actually knows what she's doing now, so she can do it properly. But the effects are exactly the Consult Oracle's ritual, but it's Consult Time Tower.
so she only got 3 questions. She didn't roll very well. And the interesting thing about this thing is it can only answer stuff about things in the past. And so we asked, when were the time mages firing from? And it responded several. So, what date were they firing from? And it responded several. So we figured, okay, another possible way they're insulating themselves from Jenga tower pulls is, they've focused fire from multiple points in history on the same point in history. So they can pull some Jenga blocks, wait for it to heal, fire again, pull some Jenga blocks, wait for it to heal, and build up the impact that way. So that's another possibility. She hasn't asked
It also
the next
some
2 questions.
redundancy in case something happens.
We start picking them off one by one.
Protocols in place to determine which timelines are checked in on their meetings. Okay, we got to pass them at this time. It's like, 17 AD done it yet? Yes. 18 AD? Yes. 19 AD? No. What happened in 19?
Check the history books. No, so all of a sudden, well, I mean, not all of a sudden, but now that we are in direct conflict with a group of time mages, things have gotten very complicated. And we're kicking ourselves for not having done more science before. Even though every time I proposed we do more science, Croesus was like, no! And Hank was like, that's a bad idea. Aurora was like, let's go and talk with those people.
It's true. It's important to me that time travel works in a consistent way so the party can manipulate it.
Yeah.
Which means that I have to stick to time travel even over the rule of cool sometimes. Which means some of the plans that I've heard the party making, I know are not going to work, but they don't know that because they don't know why.
Yeah, we haven't done enough experimentation. So let this be a lesson to you all. If you ever find yourself in possession of a time machine, flagrantly experiment with wild abandon.
What could go wrong?
That's exactly what you need to find out. So yeah, that was where the session ended. And so now, world saved, that's all right. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I don't know. If our party ceases to exist, will that unsave the world?
Yeah, pretty sure.
The problem is, if you carry that through link after link after link, if we unsave the world, then the time mages won't have reason to fire on the past, so they won't kill the party. Kalinar will survive, and you get the classic grandfather paradox.
So you get hysteresis?
Yes, a constant flipping back and forth between two states, which is classic grandfather paradox. So, either this effect does somehow peter out over time, and it won't follow through all the links. So perhaps the world saving is far enough down from Kalinar that it'll stay saved. In which case, we're now just in this for self-preservation,
Right.
which is a perfectly fine goal. Or, if not that, when we get the grandfather paradox thing, we may have multiple attempts to save ourselves.
Right.
Because if we cease to exist, then we may come back into existence again and go, whoa, geez, that was bad. Let's try something else. I don't know. It'll be an interesting experiment if we get to that. I'd rather not.
What would cause you to stop existing?
Well, it's not that we wouldn't stop existing. It's that we would never go. We would never go on all these quests.
Yeah, you would be different people.
Yes, we would not get this stupid quest in Allenway or in Valneva.
Right.
So we'd be 500 gold pieces short,
Yeah.
and that would ripple on to affect everything.
And you might not have gone to Greybridge. Mm-hmm. You might have met the Serpent Queen.
No, she's
Had a
dead.
whole adventure in.
Serpent Queen's dead. We couldn't meet her. Serpent Queen's dead. Remember? That's the High Priestess I've been talking to, not the Serpent Queen. I don't think anyone believes that, except in character. But that just means I need to talk to her all the more because she's even higher rank. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you might have had a whole different adventure. In fact, John could just make you play campaign 2.
Yeah, we could just rewind it and start playing from Valneva.
Yeah. And see what would have happened.
Yeah.
Alright, pull out your level 2 character sheets.
I still have mine.
Roses just got D crazy. And we'll be like, no!
No, so there's some interesting twists and turns coming up in terms of time travel science. We're going to learn a lot. We have 2 basic plans we could try. They both seem pretty good. I'm less confident about the counter-nuking the time mages one, because that involves a lot more unknowns.
It's also something you could do afterwards anyway.
Yeah, we know that we can pull a Butcher of Brackenridge, because we've done that.
Right.
We just have to do it quick enough that we do it before, we disappear.
I'm expecting that you guys are gonna try to do the Kalinar thing because I think either way,
Do the
doing
Kalinar
that first.
thing? You mean the Butcher of Brackenridge?
Impersonating Kalinar, potentially with Kalinar.
So assuming he's going to disappear.
Yeah, so
Doesn't that cause problems for longer than we... Like, you've met him in person along your travels, haven't you?
Well, if we're hopping through time periods, we can skip over the periods where he was not in communication with us.
He did accompany them to the past, but I think they can probably get away with not having that. Like if he's just like, yeah, now you guys go on your own. I don't think he mostly.
The DM kept forgetting he was there.
Yeah, because I didn't want to have to play a DM PC, so he was as there as little as possible. So it actually is kind of legit. I think that'll only pull like a couple Jenga blocks to have him not accompany you to the past.
Fantastic.
The big one, I guess, will be knowing the information about the final room. So I might have you pull like 4 Jenga blocks, but I don't think it'll be a deal breaker.
We can give ourselves that information by some other route.
Oh, you guys already know it.
Yeah.
So you can, when you meet yourselves in the past, you can tell yourselves the information about the final room.
And there's also...
I was thinking of just like leaving a note somewhere.
There's also... Kalinar was instrumental in convincing the high-level party that you were legit.
We had Aurora still.
Aurora didn't remember anything.
That's true, but they were convinced it was actually Aurora.
Kylenar went off by himself to talk with the other guy and said something that convinced him.
Those events would play out differently.
Yeah. Aurora did have a crazy high diplomacy, which probably made more difference. I agree that we'll pull some Jenga blocks for sure.
On the plus
But I
side,
don't see it as a deal breaker either.
Kalinar misspoke some stuff that pulled Jenga blocks as well.
True.
So
Yeah,
if he's
you-
not there, that'll unpull some Jenga blocks.
Things, yeah.
So that actually gives us a little bit of a buffer. He pulled like 3 or 4 Jenga blocks with his flailing, so we can just subtract those from whatever we wind up pulling. No, I don't think it works that way. It would be awesome if it did.
And as long as you guys just have to plan your little interventions with enough space in between them that your Jenga tower will generate.
Yeah, you might not have enough time,
we
but
don't have
still,
enough
that is a good point. Like, it regenerates 1 a day, so you can try to, like... I mean, I'm sure, even impersonating Kylenar, you're not going to do it just right, so it's going to be tough to do it without pulling a Jenga block, but I don't see it as insurmountable. It's
You
just...
also don't know what were the other critical Kylenar things Kylenar did that you weren't a part of.
Well, he had to steal Panadar, so we're probably going to have to pull some sort of heist
Yes.
and steal Panadar.
That is
And
exactly...
give it back to yourself.
That's exactly it. You're going to have to do the heist to get Panadar. Do you remember way back when this campaign started, I had this plan of running a one-shot that was going to be a heist?
Yes.
It was going to be the heist for Panadar. But now it's...
The heist for Pepper.
Yeah, except not
the party.
the guys they hired the first time,
so
I guess,
we'll-
aren't getting hired this time.
Or we'll go there and those guys are there and we'll have to kill them in order to do the heist ourselves. Yeah, there's this totally...
Maybe you guys will be the ones who get hired.
I'm good. We're good.
Well, no, because Kalinar doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And he was the one that did the hiring.
You just do that first. But why couldn't you guys just hire the people that you would have hired?
Which means you get revenge on the person that threw you into the pit. Because I had said that I was going to play that was the one that threw you into the pit.
Wait, you guys got thrown in the pit while the heist was happening?
No, that was before the heist.
At the beginning of the campaign, they got mugged by Warforged and thrown into the what's it called? Yeah, the rift. And we had established that like we were gonna have this heist, and I was like, I want to play a Warforged, and that Warforged is definitely the character that threw Brian into the pit.
So that means, that means what we're going to do is we got to go steal Panadar. And we'll have to bring Panadar with us while we're doing that. So we will have 2 Panadars.
Yes.
We'll have to label one of them. Got to make sure we don't swap them because otherwise one of the Panadars is looped.
Is that bad?
It's weird. I don't know whether it's bad or not.
Yeah, they
It could
don't
just be
know.
weird.
They will have to sign it. The key moments are stealing Panadar, hiring the party, and then all the times yelling at
the party.
Cricket, and then meeting them in Allenway to like give the big reveal. And, except this time he won't come with them.
So it doesn't matter what Kylenar did outside of his interaction with the party.
Right.
Well, if it does, I mean that stuff will all change.
But it doesn't affect us, so it won't cause us to fade out of existence. It's okay if someone else fades out of existence.
Would that involve pulling Jenga blocks? No, that would be Jenga blocks for the
For whoever it is that's about to fade out of existence.
No, it would be Jenga blocks for the time wizards who deleted Kylenar.
Yeah, and which if they pulled Jenga blocks, they already pulled it. They pulled they pulled the amount for this happening. I see it as sort of time is like a ball rolling over a surface, and it takes the path of least resistance. But you can push it up a mountain, and now it's going down this other mountain, and there's nothing stopping it.
And now that it's on the
just
other
the
side,
act of pushing it over the mountain that pulls Jenga blocks.
I do have another random question. Is it the Panadar, or Panadar's like a person?
No, Panadar is the number 13 in Elvish, because they had this whole collection of artifacts called the Bones of the Earth, and they just numbered them.
Okay.
And so we have the 13th of them.
Okay.
So it is a physical object, it's an artifact. It's a little piece of rock. It's like a crystal or something, right?
Yeah, it's like an intricately carved piece of white crystal.
Yeah. And so it is the Panadar, but soon to be a Panadar because we'll have 2 of them for a while. Which I wonder, maybe we really should do that first, because then if we've got 2 Panadars for a while, that will make us more stable. That could help.
I should have thought of that.
Or they could interfere with each other and cause the whole world to explode instantly. It'll be interesting to find out.
Oh, that was a good sleep. Oh, the dappled light again. Yes, the light through the leaves. I love this moment. Feel like yes, I have done this before. I know that oh, yeah, we have done this before. We have. Oh, this is good. This is pure and clean and nothing is wrong. We feel happy. Yes, we do. We feel happy. Oh, nothing is wrong. This is good. Let's just rest.
I knew I could fix this. I was sure I could fix this. I still am. But why?
Well, that was not to plan. As planned. We knew the plan wouldn't work, but it didn't work in a way that we were not expecting. Time ages. Again. I don't know why I'm surprised anymore.
Time ages? What? No, they weren't supposed to be here. This isn't how it's supposed to go. No, they killed everybody. What? They're all gone. Aurora. No, we have to fix this. Both Auroras are gone now. Kalinar's gone, except not completely, but he will be, and this is not good. This is really, really bad. We gotta fix this. Oh boy. What are we gonna do?
Well, that was confusing. Things went not to plan, and I'm left not knowing what to feel about this. I lost another owner. That was to plan. But, I'm very confused here. The time streams are shifting. I wish I was allowed to ask for advice on this. Well, I still definitely am owned by Serendipity, Van Goldstrider, Malor, Toppler, Tower, Shepherd, Soul Strider, Time, Doomed Layer. And I'm still definitely owned by Hank. And I guess I'll just have to go on their advice for now. Until such time as neither of them owns me either, or it becomes unclear whether they own me, at least I'll have that lifeline still.